Alright, so today we are diving into some strategies for tackling the cars section on the MCAT. If this is a challenging section for you, these methods will help you build a strong foundation and avoid common pitfalls. And if you're already strong in cars, they'll make your top performances more consistent. Let's break down the basic approach and see how you can optimize your car's game plan. When you start a passage, it's easy to feel a bit lost, because unlike reading essays in school, you don't have any context. The passage could be about anything from Leonardo da Vinci to the ethics of education. The key here is to find your bearings. Think of it like navigating through a library or a university's departments. History, philosophy, literature, you get the idea. Your goal isn't to feel perfectly oriented right away. Instead, give yourself permission to take a little extra time at the start to get situated. This will save you time later when you're answering questions. Now, when you're reading, try to tune into the writer's voice. Imagine the writer is speaking directly to you. Even if the subject seems abstract or obscure, try to connect on a human level. We've evolved to understand speech intuitively, so bring that natural capacity for understanding to your reading. Don't just focus on the words. Get a feel for the writer's intent and tone. As you read, you need to balance flow and structure. You're following the passage sequentially from start to finish, but you also want to appreciate the underlying structure of the argument. Maybe the writer is justifying a claim, presenting counter-arguments, or shifting perspectives to lead you somewhere unexpected. Being able to see these transitions will help you read more critically, and over time, this process will become more intuitive. And let's not forget, stumbling is part of the car's experience. Sometimes you might lose track of a reference or get thrown off by a shift in the argument. If that happens, don't panic. Slow down and backtrack a few sentences. Ask yourself, what's the writer trying to say here? Approach it like a conversation where you're trying to help the writer articulate their point. Staying in sync with the passage, even when it gets tricky, is key. Once you finish reading, take a moment before diving into the questions. Quickly glance through the passage from top to bottom, reminding yourself of the structure. Think about how the parts fit together and what the main points are. This will refresh your memory and give you a firmer grasp of the argument, which is crucial for answering questions. Now, let's talk about tackling those questions. Always read the question stem carefully. Don't speed through it. The test writers craft questions in a way that can easily trip you up if you're not paying close attention. Slow down, read every word, and try to answer the question in your mind before looking at the answer choices. This step helps you think independently and reduces the influence of the second best answer choices that are designed to mislead you. When you're considering the answer choices, don't commit too quickly. It's tempting to go with the first option that seems right, but practice withholding judgment until you've given each choice some consideration. If you find yourself stuck between two options, attack them by focusing on what's wrong with each one. The correct answer will usually be the one that holds up under scrutiny. Remember, not every question is meant to be difficult. About a third of the questions are fairly straightforward. If a question seems easy, trust that it probably is. Just make sure you've read the stem carefully and reviewed all the answer choices. For the tougher questions, try to block out what seems appealing about each answer, and instead focus on their flaws. If an answer doesn't fully align with the passage or has a logical flaw, it's not the right choice. The correct answer might not be perfect, but it will be the one with the least amount of problems. Now, let's touch on pacing. The time pressure varies from person to person, but you don't want to be constantly checking the clock. Instead, think in 30-minute increments. Aim to answer about 20 questions every 30 minutes. This keeps you in a state of flow rather than anxiety. If you fall behind, switch to plan B, where you use a few get-out-of-jail-free cards by quickly choosing the least worst answers and moving on. This strategy will help you catch up without rushing the passages. So there you have it, a comprehensive strategy for approaching the cars section. Practice these techniques, stay in sync with the passages, and keep your pacing in check. And if you're looking for more resources to help you prepare, make sure to download our app or visit kingoffthecurve.org for even more study tips and tools.